and welcome to episode 53 of the GrowCast Show. And it's been a fun and interesting journey. And today I have Dominic Su from the real estate industry. He's a real estate agent at ERA and he has got 9 years of experience in the real estate industry. And I'm so excited to be talking to him about the current real estate market, his journey and his plans moving forward as well. And as usual, let me get started by asking Dominic, what does being better than normal mean to you?
I guess to me, there's two meanings to better than normal. The first meaning, of course, is to be better at something or everything that what the normal does. And the second one, which is what I'm more interested in, is actually doing something that no one else does that gets you even better results than what the normal people actually achieve.
Makes perfect sense. And for you, Dominic, what makes you better than normal?
So for me, I find myself very client-centric person. So first time when I'm meeting with clients, I really try my best to understand their aims and the ambitions of them and how can we help them along this journey to actually achieve their aims and their ambitions. So that's something I find that a lot of agents do not do because they are more interested in their own sales numbers, more interested in their own self than in the client.
Very nice. And for yourself, Dominic, can you share about your journey into the real estate industry?
All right. So when I first joined the real estate industry, I actually joined the real estate industry in order to sell my mom's house. So funny story, but my mom actually took 5 years before she actually ended up selling the house. So I sort of felt cheated for that 5 years, but in the end, it was all good. It was all good.
Was she your longest serving client?
I mean, there are clients now that are on a long-term basis with me. But yeah, she was quite a long client.
Very nice. And what sparked your own interest in real estate and how has your motivation evolved over the years?
So one of the things that actually hit me really hard about real estate was after my mom passed away. So as we were sitting down and looking through her life, we realized that we could have gotten four times the returns if we had made the right moves in the market after I was educated in it. So actually what a lot of people are missing out when they are actually in the real estate industry actually is the opportunity cost when they make the decisions. So I actually spent a lot of resources in training. I spent over 6 digits training myself in various real estate and other knowledge in order to get to this level.
I mean, it's interesting that you say that you could have gotten 4 times the value after mom actually passed on and how you actually saw that journey that was there. But for yourself, what was the number one pivotal moment that shaped your journey as a real estate agent?
It's funny you should ask that because it actually is the exact same point. Because when my mom passed away, I realized that a lot of the decisions that were made is actually because of the belief systems that we have. So because of the beliefs that we have that's passed down from generation to generation, even though it's no longer useful, we might be holding on to the same beliefs. So that's the number one pivotal moment that I realized that I can actually help the people do a lot better by changing their beliefs.
And so important, right? Belief systems as well as the first fundamental thing. For yourself, can you share your mission as a real estate agent and how that mission influences your relationship with your clients?
So I would say that a lot of times, I'm there to help my clients achieve their goals, but a lot of agents feel that it's a job for them. So it's sort of become a me versus them situation where they are in a rush to fulfill whether it's their sales goals, whether it's just to end the transaction in order to achieve it. But for me, I'm there to help my clients achieve their goals. So I'm not very pushy. I help consult them, and with them, I help them to make their right decisions with the right information.
Makes sense. And for yourself, Dominic, what is the best age you feel to learn real estate in Singapore?
I would say that the longer journey pathway you have in real estate, the more you actually prosper from real estate. So to me, I would think that between ages of 16 to 18 is actually the best time you can learn, because at 18, you can start taking some small action, and by 21, you can start buying property of your own. So to me, the longer pathway you have, the more compounding works for you.
Makes sense. And where do you see yourself in this industry in the next 5 to 10 years? What are your long-term goals?
So personally for me, my goal is actually to build a community of people that have the same values, same goals, same ambitions, and help them along the way so that when I help them to achieve their goals, we all prosper together. So hopefully it becomes a movement where more and more people actually benefit from having real estate and making the right decisions in real estate.
And what can someone expect when they meet you for the very first time?
So this is both a good and bad thing. When we meet for the first time, a lot of times I'll take a lot of time to understand them. What are their goals? What are their aims? And for some people, it might be uncomfortable because for the normal people, they are there to close a deal. They are there to push a transaction. My aim is there to help them achieve their aims. So in order to do that, I first have to understand their aims, which means to say that I have to take a longer time to understand what they need and in order to help them reach that.
And how long does typically the first consult with you take? Because your approach is so different from the typical real estate agent, right?
Right.
So for yourself, how long is your first consult where you dive deeper into the client's needs and wants?
So it really depends on how fast the clients are willing to share. The fastest one that I've done probably took about 20 minutes and he was very clear about what he wanted. For the longer ones, it took 2 to 3 hours because when I asked them what they wanted, it didn't sound like that was really what they wanted. So I had to ask in a couple of different ways before we actually achieved the end result, which was to find out what they really wanted. Yeah.
Makes sense. I think most people don't know what they want, so that's why I had to ask this question.
Yeah.
But that aside, for yourself, how do you ensure your clients feel supported and informed during the often stressful process of buying or selling a home?
So once we have achieved their aim, we've come up with a plan to whether to buy or sell the home. I actually explain to them the entire process. This can take a maximum of 2 to 3 hours as well because I have to explain the terms, the timelines, the calculations. But for those people that already have a bit of knowledge, it can be much faster. So the fastest we've seen, again, is about half an hour where we have to go through their numbers, the calculations. But they already understood the terms, so there wasn't really a need to explain all those to them. But for the people that are new in the industry, I think it's very important for them to understand some of the terms because a lot of times professionals, we tend to be so used to these terms that we forget that our clients actually have no experience in using it.
And what do you tell someone who has had a bad experience working with real estate agents in the past?
So in the Chinese language, there is this term which briefly translates to one kind of rice fits 100 kind of people. So we have to understand that even in the real estate sector, there's all kinds of people around. Some, I'm not saying they are bad, but everyone has different aims and motives. Some of them might be just trying to feed their family. They might be having pressures with sales targets. Their boss that's pressing on them. So they might not have given you the best experience when working with you. So give it another try. Try working with someone like me, where I'm focused on you, your aims, your progression, your ambitions, and we try and get there together.
And Dominic, for yourself, how do you measure success in your real estate business beyond just numbers? I'll actually flip it the other way around. Sales numbers are actually the least of my worries. Of course, to the consternation of my manager, my focus is actually on making clients succeed. So as Zig Ziglar say, if you help enough people succeed, you will succeed. So that's what I try and help them do. I want them to achieve their aims because personally for me, I feel more happiness when I see them making money, achieving their goals than when I'm hitting my sales numbers. So that's my focus, to make them happy with what decisions they made. I think that's one thing that's why I think to some extent you and me get along also, because what you just said about Zig Ziglar, if you help enough people get what they want, yep, you will eventually get what you want. So if you realize the word eventually is there, so maybe for people like you and me who are more long-term thinkers, we may not get the result right away, but eventually we will get the results, right?
Right. So and when we get the results, hopefully it's going to be everyone wins case.
Makes
so
sense.
Everyone's happy.
Makes sense. And for yourself, let's talk a little bit about, describe your ideal client. What characteristics make someone a perfect match for your services?
So for me, I would say that one essential thing for me is that they have a long-term view. So I'm looking to work with someone for the rest of their lives instead of just a transaction. I'm looking for someone who's looking for a partner who's open to creative ideas. So when we are able to have people like that, we are able to work with more openness. So I will not be afraid to share my ideas, even though it may not be your end decisions. It's just an idea we can discuss. And when we have that open discussions, we might actually generate a better idea that you might make the decision that will actually benefit your portfolio in the long term.
Sounds good. And for yourself, what do you believe is the most rewarding part of being a real estate agent?
So for me, the most rewarding part of being a real estate agent is actually the ability to help someone in the worst time of their lives. So whether it's a divorce, death of someone loved ones, or even when you are just losing your company or you get devastated in the economical sense, this is where I believe I can actually help people. It's the worst time of their lives, and I believe they need someone with empathy to help them get through that bad part of their lives.
Makes sense. And for yourself, can you walk us through some memorable client success stories?
So I would say that one of the happiest things that I've been able to do is 4 years ago, I was able to help 2 different clients buy property from new launches, and within 4 years they made almost 150% in gains based on what they invested. So in the end, they were very happy with the purchases. Although right at the start, in fact, they didn't actually look for me to look for that property. But after understanding their aims, after understanding them better, that's what I recommended to them, and I'm glad they took my recommendation.
For yourself, in your opinion, Dom, what is the elephant in the room in the real estate market today that often goes unaddressed?
So I really think that one of the biggest elephants in the room is that we actually view a lot of things in our own perspectives. So when we view a lot of things in our own perspective, it might not be very representative of the market. So if you are from a background where you have access to a lot of resources, then you might feel that a new launch in the normal Pasir Ris or the residential areas might not be very attractive to you, but it might end up to be one of the most profitable investments that you can make. So I'll say that sometimes it helps if we are able to open ourselves to perspective other than our own. Yeah.
Very nice. And for yourself, how do you view the government cooling measures and how does that affect the property market?
So the cooling measures actually first came into existence in 2011. What I find is that over the last 13, 14 years, it has reduced risks for owners. It has controlled price increases for the buyers. So as a whole, the market becomes a lot safer for everyone that's inside the market. So safety is something that we often neglect when we are actually complaining about such cooling measures. Of course, at the point when you're complaining, you're thinking about your own interests. But as a whole, I believe that these measures are actually very beneficial to the entire market.
And Dominic, moving forward to our next question, which is, what is one myth about being a real estate agent that you would like to debunk?
I think the biggest myth is that it's very easy to make big money in real estate. I actually like to point out that actually only 5% of the industry makes serious money. We're talking about 200,000 and above per year. The rest of the market actually can range from $0 all the way to maybe 120,000. So on average, that's the average pay for a normal salesperson. So because of that, however, there's a lot of media attention on these people. And because of that, a lot of people think that it's very easy for real estate agents to make a lot of money inside the market. And therefore, they focus a lot on penny pinching and negotiating with real estate agents. When they do this, sometimes it's to their detriment when they do not make the right decisions because they are trying to save on 5,000 here, but they actually lose out 20, 30,000 on the negotiation side. So that's a big caution I will have for people that are looking to get into the real estate market.
Makes perfect sense. And for yourself, how has the real estate market in Singapore changed and how does that affect buyers of new property launches?
I think one of the biggest changes in the last few years has been the change from building up a site at the site to be having factory-made components and being assembled at the site. So what this means is that there's actually less variations in layouts. I'm not saying there's no variations. There's still certain variations between different companies, different factories, but there's a lot less choices. So because of that, architects now have less things that they can actually change. So there's a lot more attention on finishing, as well as the theme of the entire condo. However, that also means that there's a lot more attention to location, which is of course the cliche in real estate.
And why are sellers renovating their property before selling? Does this really help to increase the value of their property?
So this is actually a new trend we've seen in recent years. One thing is that people are able to move in straight away. So that actually reduces a lot of hassle for them. However, another issue for them is also that when you do that, the buyers are actually paying for that out of the property value. So they are able to take a longer loan at a lower rate. However, if you were to buy the house and then renovate it, you probably have to take a renovation loan, which is for a shorter time period and a lot higher cost. And you still have to manage the different components. So there is a certain group of buyers now that actually prefer to move in to houses that are already renovated to their taste. And we are seeing some developers even attempt to do that for buyers.
Very nice. And how do you think the recent developments moving towards DIY is affecting the property market?
So the government is actually help greatly encouraging people to do DIY. However, this to me applies to only a small portion of people because there's a lot of knowledge that you need. And if you do not have that knowledge, you could be causing damages to yourself in your money, your timeline, as well as the transaction. As in, if you make the wrong moves, you might not even get the transaction going through. So you do need some skills as well, negotiating with your buyers or sellers, yourself. So these are, I would say that it's not for everybody, but if you have the right skills, if you have the right knowledge, then please go ahead and do it. But if you do not, please find the right professionals to help you along the way. It will help you in the longer run.
Very nice. And as the market evolves, Dominic, what do you see as the future of real estate regarding agent and client relationships?
So for me, I mean, if you look at it from the distant past, a lot of real estate agents actually used to be on a transactional basis when they're pushing out products. It has been turning towards an advisory relationship in recent years where we are understanding what you need and we advise you based on what you need. But currently, it's still on a very short-term basis. And to me, I will see that the next step will actually be to plan on a longer term, where you have a long-term relationship between your property advisors and yourselves, so that you're actually able to have a long-term plan and build up your property portfolio in the meantime.
And if you could change one thing about the real estate industry, what would it be and why?
I think this is not only about real estate industry, but about people as basic, because everyone wants everything. But a lot of times we are not able to have everything all at once. So for example, if you want a homestay property versus an investment property, there might be two different properties. And if you want capital gains versus cash flow, there might be two different recommendations. So it's human nature to want everything, but it's actually not very realistic, and actually it's detrimental to your results in the end because you tend to end up with something in the middle, which means to say that it's not the best for either situation. So in the end, your results are not as good if you have made a decision early.
Makes sense. And can you discuss the impact of interest rates on home buying, be it HDB or private, and how do you advise your clients?
So for me, I guess the whole focus on this is because people want to time the market. But for me, my advice is do not pay too much attention on this because property market is there for the long term. So my advice is buy property to wait and do not wait to buy property. So in the long term, if you're just waiting for either a high interest rates or low interest rates, in the long term, it will all balance out and it doesn't make that much of a difference in the long term.
Makes sense. And what role does collaboration with other industry professionals, like lawyers, pest controllers, interior designers, mortgage brokers, or even home inspectors play in your success as a real estate agent?
So I believe that we are all professionals in our own right. And when we are being professional, we are an expert in our own field. And when we are able to perform our jobs to the best of our abilities, we are there to ensure our clients succeed. So I can, of course, know a bit about law, a bit about pest control, but when I'm giving them the advice, I'm not giving them the best advice possible there is. So when I work with my partners in these industries, they are able to give you better advice, and that helps the client succeed more, even though you may have to pay a bit more at the start.
Very nice. And for yourself, how do you view the competition between insurance and real estate agents?
So for me, actually, I think that between insurance and real estate agents is a complementary relationship and not a competitive one. So we are all in the end, we're planning for the wealth of our clients. And when we are doing a wealth planner, it actually helps to collaborate instead of compete with each other. So I know in the market now, there's a lot of people, whether on the insurance side or real estate side, where they view it's a competition towards the client's pockets. But if you are able to sit down, plan for the client as a whole, I will guess you will come up to a better solution for the client.
Makes sense. And for yourself, what are your insights on the rising property prices and which segments of the market do you think will see the most demand in the coming years?
So, of course, property is in such a case where certain segments will continue to rise and interest rates in the near future is coming down. So because of that, sellers will actually look to sell for higher values. So I will see that in the short to medium term time frame, the property prices will continue to rise for a while. And then there is also a shift towards the private market as more and more people get a bit more affluent. There's a bit more money for people in our market. So they are moving up the ladder. So they are demanding more for themselves. So they are moving a lot more towards the private market. So we have seen there being an increase of almost 3% more of the population to go into private property compared to the past.
That's quite a decent amount actually. And for yourself, what role does foreign investment play in the Singaporean real estate market today? And are there any regulations that are affecting it?
So foreign investments are always important in any country. So there's actually a certain segment of the real estate property in Singapore that I believe foreign investments actually propped up in the past. However, when the government instituted a 60% ABSD last year, we have seen a much slower growth in the core central region. And this has actually presents itself as an opportunity for investors who are looking to invest, because it means that the prices in the CCR region is actually not as high as it can be. So if and when the government really relaxes that particular number, then we will see faster growth in this area. So this might be one opportunity that people might be able to take.
Very nice. And do you feel that 18 to 21-year-olds should invest in real estate in Singapore?
I really do. I think the younger you start, the longer pathway you have. Along at that age though, you must make sure that you have the right knowledge, and it might be a good idea to invest with other people you trust, your parents, your relatives, so that you get the right experience investing in the right properties in Singapore.
So Dominic, what do you think are the 3 key criteria that clients should look into before investing into real estate?
So for me, I believe that the first thing is that the clients need to know enough about the market and what they are going into before they start investing. And secondly, they need to make sure that their finances are safe enough, meaning to say that they have a amount or buffer there to cover whatever risk that they need to take. And thirdly, they need to know why they are investing. Because when they know why they're investing, they are controlling the money and not letting the money control them.
Makes sense. And for yourself, what is the one belief in real estate that many clients have that is not to their benefit?
So I believe this is not only a belief, but a current reality where people do not plan long term. They actually find whatever they can afford in the shortest term, and they just buy whatever, the biggest thing or what they can afford. But if you are able to plan in the long term, you might be able to achieve much more than you thought possible if you do not plan. So I guess one of the things is that people always underestimate what they can achieve in the short term, and they always overestimate what they can achieve in the short term, and they always underestimate what they can achieve in the long term. So when we are planning long term, we are able to plan for a bigger pot of gold at the end, rather than planning for short terms, and we are always dealing with the situation at the moment.
Makes sense. I like that as well. Makes perfect sense as well. And for yourself, what is the number one misconception you encounter about the real estate market that you like to clear up?
So I would say that one of the biggest misconceptions is that every transaction in real estate must be there for making money. So a lot of times, some people do not use real estate as their money-making vehicle. They are just looking for a simple place to stay. That is why we are looking at 1.73 million for a HDB flat. I believe that if he's realistic, he's not looking for capital growth on that. He's probably looking to find a place to stay where he's comfortable, he likes the region, he can save there safely. So some people really buy to live the lifestyle they want. And so like I mentioned, if you're able to make that decision right at the start, you know exactly what you want to buy.
Very nice. And for yourself, my last question that I have for you is, what is one piece of advice you would give to someone looking to start their journey in real estate, whether it's a homeowner, investor, or an agent?
I would say that having the enough knowledge is a very key component. If you are just starting out, try and invest in either a coach, a mentor, in yourself, or even a partner. So when you are spending such resources on investing in yourself and the knowledge, it may not pay off in quickly, but it will pay off in the long term. And the payoff might be greater than you actually imagine possible.
Very nice. And I think today's conversation was very insightful. I learned lots of new things as well. Dominic, is there anything that I missed out, anything that I should have asked or I didn't ask? Any other last words that you have?
I would say that there's a lot of generational myths that we have been passed down from our parents, and it can cost you $1 million to our kids, whether those that are in tertiary education and those that just came out to the workforce. So do try and get yourself updated to the market right now, instead of depending on your perspective from maybe 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago.
Very nice. And thank you so much. That was Dominic Su, real estate agent from ERA. He's got 9 years of experience, and today's episode 53 was very insightful as well. And I will catch you all real soon for episode 54 coming right up, and we will talk to you again. Take care, everybody. See you for another episode of the GrowCast Show. Bye-bye.